So the Corvette that's the powerhouse now. That's it's basically you drive it a lot, you race it a lot. That's how we kind of reconnected after Tailpipe Talks is at
LS Fest, right?
LS Fest.
Yeah.
Probably would have saw you at Good Guys, but missed last year,
I think,
years ago. But I've done a lot of those. So LS Fest, and then essentially you've been autocrossing for some years, but now you have the Corvette that you've had for 5 years. I mean, that's still a long period. I mean, it's essentially longer than I've been doing it.
With my Pontiac, it was like as I could afford it, when I could afford tires, it was a lot less.
It's fun.
Serious. Yeah. But like I would go out when they would do it at Lone Star Park. I would go for those little events. I think
with Repede or something.
Yeah. And it was just wanting the experience of getting to drive my car in a way that you don't typically get to drive a car.
Yeah, technical driving. It's fun. A lot of people don't, and there may be a lot of people that are watching this that are like, I go to the track or I go fast on the streets or I go drag strip straight, in a line, 8 mile, quarter mile, whatever it is. But if you've never autocrossed, I'll let you talk about it, but it's a different thing. It's not about how fast you're going. It's how can you really have to think a lot.
Yeah.
Because the courses aren't the same. You go to a track, the track stays the same.
Yeah. They're shorter
condition.
And they're so much more narrow too. You got to keep it in the cones. It's
so technical.
Yeah. It's a lot of that. What most people outside of the car watching, it doesn't look as exciting or flashy or interesting, but inside of the car, it can be a lot more chaotic than road course. If you're putting down power. So like I know with your Camaro, it's
tough.
Got it dialed, but I imagine it's pretty tough to wrangle around a road course, around an autocross course. It's the same thing with my Z06. It's got really long legs. It can put its power down. It's really great through like faster, high speed road courses. But with everything that I have done to it, because it's not a stock Z06, it can be a bit of a handful to wrestle around in those lower gears and in these like really tight, really dusty little courses. But it's also a lot of fun because you get to
do it more.
Your
tires don't get shredded as bad.
And the consequences of spinning or going off at 30,
lower risk.
50, it's much lower risk.
I mean, there's every turn is an issue on a road course. You could do something bad. Usually it's not that sketchy, but there's a possibility. Every turn on an autocross, you hit a cone. There might be one or two like go too far. Yeah, I hit a light on the lot, or go too far, you might hit a curve,
gravel trap, or
And that's the thing is on those is once you get into those pebbles, which are basically the whole course, it's you don't really. I kind of equate it to playing baseball on, turf versus just going to your local park and trying to field a ground ball.
On the dirt,
they take one off the face. You just don't know the conditions. That's what you don't know when you're out there, is the conditions. And so what do you like? Do you like autocross on a conditioned autocross course? Let's say a go-kart track. Like Road America, you've never been there, but
no, but
you rerun the autocross. It's more of a track cross. Ellis Fest at TMS that's a track cross when they go on that track and they pinch off apexes. There's not a ton of turns like an autocross would have, but more of a track cross.
It's a lot more high speed turns.
That's where your car and my car, they perform well with those.
Oh yeah. And it surf, kind of like you touched on, surface is a big thing. Like last year at Good Guys, the one you didn't make, so like the spring one, I think it was back in March.
Yeah.
That surface where they do Good Guys is not really very good.
It's super slick.
It's very slick. Well, because isn't that where they do the burnout pit or whatever when they have like bigger events? Or
the LS Fest one is a little bit over. I'm not sure about.
Yeah, so LS Fest is on the other,
that's the autocross, but the burnout pit is just also to the left of Good Guys over there.
Oh, you know what? I think you're right. Yeah.
a little bit over, but it's kind of the same area. But
Yeah.
it's just the surface.
Yeah, the surface just isn't great. And then, of course,
It's super small.
when you're getting into like cars where you're getting kind of serious with your tires and stuff, temperature, like the surface temperature is a big thing.
Yeah.
And so like Good Guys in my alignment, I went up there. I didn't have time to get the car realigned before Good Guys. And so I went up there like on a highway alignment, and the surface wasn't good. The surface wasn't warm. It was like 55, 60 degrees and cloudy. And so it was just like,
Yeah. If you don't have the Yokohamas, you're not going to do too well.
yeah, it felt like at Good Guys, it felt like driving a wheelbarrow around, like just pushing every turn.
Yeah.
I kept having to lock up in one specific little turn on my front right. It was just really non-cooperative.
That's the cool thing about autocross too is, well, it's good and it's bad because sometimes you don't get that many runs and you have to figure it out pretty quick. But, that's part of the challenge too, is it neutralizes a lot of really good drivers too, is that they've got to not just be a good driver, but figure out those conditions. And some of the best drivers, which, I try to look at what they do, and I think it's a lot of this, like they've just done it for so many years. They know exactly, not exactly, but they've seen conditions over and over. Their car's been dialed for so long. When you have a car that's like, you may change something or it's kind of been the same platform for a long period of time, you obviously have seen those conditions before. So hey, I might need to do this or just pedal your car a little bit more. And I think, so do you like autocross or road course or drag racing, or like, what's the one, if you said, look, perfect conditions on any surface, what's the one that you like the most?
Road course.
Road course. Why is that?
Probably because throughout all of my childhood, growing up playing like Gran Turismo, like I mentioned before, even to this day, I do a lot of sim racing. And so, as fun and as technical and challenging as, the satisfaction that I get from autocross, as much as I like that, I think there's a little bit more ease of measurement on a road course, because like you had mentioned, the track doesn't change. It's the same every day that you go there. The surface changes, the conditions changes, but the apex doesn't move. And so I can sit there in like Assetto Corsa or iRacing, even just by myself hot lapping. I can sit there and for hours just over again, because and just trying to chop my time down, like finding out where I can get more consistent, where I can carry more speed and stuff like that. And so, whereas autocross courses, the layout of Good Guys changes every single time. For instance, like I think fall the year before you were there, they had that long, so you come out and you're going this way.
Yeah, autocross over
straight.
Yeah.
Whereas Good Guys in the spring when I was there, that configuration was completely different.
Yeah.
And so it can be a little bit more challenging to measure, like when you go from one event to another. It's like, did I actually get faster, or is this layout just a little bit more favorable to